Welcome back to another edition of the Sail Prairie Sound Generational Zoomcast with Brad and Garrett. And today is the final edition of Brad and Garrett's episodes, part 3, that is. Today we talk a little bit about the nitty-gritty side of racing, of 29er racing that Brad and Garrett were able to do. And they also go to a couple regattas that we don't usually go to at Sail Prairie Sound, including the Canadian Championships, which is quite a long way from home, but we'll talk about that more later. We also talked to them about their personal life and the takeaways that they've got from sailing at Sail Prairie Sound that they now use in their daily life. And I think a lot of you might find some of this relatable, so it's really interesting to talk to them about that. With that, here's the final episode of Brad and Garrett's edition of the SPS Generational Zoomcast.
Well, you guys sailed at a couple of regattas as well that I think a lot of people at Sail Prairie Sound probably don't know. One of them that I would start with is the regatta in New Brunswick, when you were sailing at the Canadians, and the top boats get a chance to go sail in Miami. That must have been a pretty competitive regatta, and what was it like to be sailing so far away from home?
It was a different experience. There's quite a bit of travel involved. We got out there fairly quickly. I remember the drive out there. I think we drove all. No, we stayed one night in the way. Anyway, it was kind of the regatta was kind of inland, right? Brad, it was. I can't remember what the harbor was called, but we had to deal with some tides, which was definitely different for us, which I don't think we really experienced. Again, though, fleet size was big. A little bit of pressure to perform, which was kind of cool. It was nice though. I think we had a hot start and didn't finish well, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think there was definitely like different conditions with the tides and salt water and some current. So that was a bit of a learning experience for us. And we started out pretty well. I think there was probably a fleet of like 30 boats maybe. And we had a few top 5 finishes in the first day, I think. And then maybe the second day, I was trying to find the results from the regatta before we got on this call, just so that I could do some fact checking, but I didn't get a chance to. But anyways, we were doing real well in one of the races on the second day. And then we actually got with a jury boat called a penalty against us, and we didn't follow through on the penalty turns. We just kept trekking along, thinking we were doing what we always do, and finished the race. And then only to find out that because we didn't do our penalty turns, we had been disqualified from that race. So we protested it unsuccessfully, I think, and that really put a damper in the event for us. So things kind of went downhill from there. We had a bad day the following day, ripped some sails, and we weren't able to get any replacements, so we missed the whole day of racing. And anyways, it's all still a good experience, but who knows where it could have taken us otherwise.
Yeah, and it speaks to the ups and downs of sailing. The highs are very high, and the lows are very low as well. I know this is a topic that we talked about when we were playing the paper plate game, and we never got to it. But Garrett, I can't imagine, if you're prone to getting seasick, that being out in the tides and the big water could have helped that at all.
Actually, that location was fine. It because it was it felt like you were in an inland lake. It was the way the water systems worked. It was fairly kind of semi-sheltered. Like, you still got good wind. You didn't get the wave action. It's the light days with the rollers that I don't do so well in. But as Brad will defend me here, when it comes to race mode, I'm there. But in between races, I'm not feeling so hot. And as Brad got an extra lunch because I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, I got a lot of double sandwiches because Garrett wasn't. He was yakking over the side a few times there.
It was, poor credit was the worst.
Yeah, and the soggy lunchtime sandwiches are always a fantastic meal. Probably don't help.
You look at that when you're not feeling so well and just like, no, not happening.
Yeah.
I was happy to eat them both. It's okay.
Yeah.
Get a good hunger on.
Yeah. Well, you're the crew. You gotta be putting on the weight.
Yeah, I was trying to get from 140 pounds up to 150 with sandwiches.
We need that weight.
No, speaking of current though, that is something that we don't get very often we don't get any of it at Still Prairie Sound, which I guess we can consider ourselves lucky because we are in a very good sailing location there. But you've gone to a couple other guys that had quite a bit of current. You're at the Fruit Bowl, at the National Capital, and some regattas in Sarnia as well. What's the most difficult thing about sailing in current? I can imagine maybe stopping on the start line maybe would be something else, but what are some of the challenges?
Yeah, that start lines for sure are difficult. Hitting lay lines because you figure that you can tack and hit the mark, and then all of a sudden you get to the mark and you got 20 boat lengths to make up still. So it's tricky. I don't really remember specifically how we managed with that other than just kind of making our way to the next mark. But yeah, definitely start lines and lay lines, those are tricky to figure, how much you're going to drift, how much extra room you need to make up.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely the biggest challenge, especially when you're getting close to those markers with other boats. You think you have a lot of room, and then before you know it, you're on top of each other, and you really want to know who has it right away and be smart. But it was always really challenging. I'm trying to think which one was the toughest, Brad, of those three locations.
I don't know. Whenever anywhere that was current and light wind, that was a real challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it's tricky because depending on the location, certain parts of the water body have different currents and there's strong sides and weak sides. And so, if you're racing against people that were local there, they knew where to go. So I don't know whether we try to follow them or just.
And the worst was in Sarnia though, because you had those hazards with I don't know if they were. I don't think they were for fishing. I think there were other kind of markers that were part of the channel, and we got caught up on one because it wasn't well marked. But those would play a factor with your current.
Yeah, towing a fishing net upwind isn't overly good.
No.
Yeah, does it slow you down a bit or?
Oh, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, probably half the speed that you should be going.
Remember that? No, I remember us. We were pretty. We hit that line, and we were mad. I think we were feeling good in that race.
Yeah. Next thing you know, just boom.
What was your corrective action there? What was your reaction when that happened?
Hold that dagger board up quick.
Yeah. For some reason, I feel like we couldn't get it dislodged though, because we got it off the so the front of the 29er really it turns abruptly. So I don't know if it was stuck on the front of the boat, on the bow first, and then we got that loose, and then it was on the dagger board, and then we got that loose, and then it's on the rudder. I don't know.
We couldn't take it loose. I remember it being a bit of a battle.
We took it probably a whole leg upwind with us. Not very fast.
Yeah, and I guess that speaks as well. I'm not sure if we've covered, but 29ers are very fast. And I know that was one of the things that attracted you guys to wanting to sail a 29er. So I think it speaks as well. One tiny mistake in the race or one fishing net could cost you so much.
Yeah, fishing net'll do it for sure. But yeah, like you said, I mean, pretty fast boats, so little small tweaks make huge time differences. So it's not to equate it to Formula One racing or anything, but it's they make a tiny little adjustment and your boat's going way faster. So it took us a couple of years before we kind of figured out a lot of those tricks and that, but so there's a lot of unique things to learn about that boat that we didn't have experience with. So it was a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
don't
learning.
think I think it helped when we decided to move on to race in Hamilton to train with two other 29ers that we really learned what the boats could do. And when you're racing each other, it brought a different competitive edge out, and it was kind of eye opening, the things you could do with a boat and become that much quicker.
Well, now that we've covered quite a bit of your time sailing at Sail Prairie Sound, I wanted to go into what you guys are up to now with your life. So maybe we'll start with you, Garrett. What are you doing post sailing, and what is your daily life look like?
I'm married. I have twin boys, and I run a small business with my dad. So I'm still in Perry Sound. It's yeah, it's good. It's, we're still on Georgian Bay lots doing lots of boating, and I haven't sailed for some time now, but I hope as my kids get a bit older that we can get back out there, and it could be a good activity for us. But other than that, I feel pretty fortunate to be in Perry Sound and still have the opportunity to sail and work and enjoy life.
Yeah, I'm a civil engineer, and no longer living in Perry Sound, but not too far away. I'm in Moonstone, married, and have a 1.5-year-old little guy. So same thing that Garrett was saying. Hopefully I can pass along the love for sailing to him eventually. And yeah, I don't get a chance to get out sailing too much anymore, but still have that that love for being out on the water and that. So yeah, that's what I'm up to. It's pretty busy these days, but things are good.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think we were talking earlier. Sailing at the beginning of your life, it's not just an activity that you do in the summer. It's really something that consumes your life and becomes a really big part of what you do as throughout growing up being a sailor. Maybe I'll start with you again, Garrett. Can you, how has sailing helped you in your daily life, or what kind of skills or things that you learned in sailing as a kid do you take into your life today?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of different things that took from my sailing days. I mean, from the practical standpoint, I still do a lot of boating. So you take on that knowledge you learned sailing, reading water conditions and navigating markers and all that kind of basic stuff that sailing teaches you early on. Still use that a lot. But that's the life lessons. Just meeting people, socializing, just that kind of stuff. With sailing, what we learned, it's not just a sport, but it's a hobby. It's a healthy activity, and there's a lot of things that you can take away from it. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint just one thing down, but it's I don't know. I hope one day I can get my kids on the circuit and they can learn the same kind of things that I did.
Yeah, I think there's tons of bonuses. Those are all my favorite pastimes. Is all those summers we got to spend on the water, and it's looking back, we were pretty fortunate to be spending all day out on the water, going to different cities and regattas on the weekends, and traveling around. To spend your whole summer doing that's a pretty cool way to spend your time.
Well, we appreciate you tuning in to the Sail Prairie Sound Generational Zoomcast with Brad and Garrett, and Brad makes a fantastic point there. Nothing better you could be doing in the summer than sailing at Sail Prairie Sound. So many fantastic memories and some lifelong friends, as we see a perfect example with Brad and Garrett. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and stay tuned on the Sail Prairie Sound social media channels for more content. We hope to keep you entertained on the Sail Prairie Sound Generational Zoomcast.